Title: The Man Who Survived 2 Atomic Bombs. The Unbreakable Spirit of Tsutomu Yamaguchi. Description: Tsutomu Yamaguchi's story is one of unimaginable tragedy and incredible resilience. A 29-year-old engineer on a business trip, he found himself at ground zero not once, but twice, during the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In August 1945, this is the story of the man the world knows as the double survivor. Join us as we journey through Tsutomu Yamaguchi, his life from his fateful business trip to the horrors he witnessed, the burns he endured, and the miraculous reunion with his family. We'll explore the profound physical and psychological scars left by the blasts, and how he transformed his personal trauma into a powerful, lifelong mission for peace and nuclear This isn't just a story of survival. It takes them into the strength of the human spirit and a solemn reminder of the catastrophic cost of war. Yamaguchi's legacy implores us to never forget, and to always strive for a world free from nuclear weapons. In the grand chaotic story of human history, some individuals endure experiences so extraordinary, they seem to defy belief. This is the story of one such man, a man who stared into the heart of the sun, not once, but twice, and lived to tell the tale. His name was Tsutomu Yamaguchi, and he is officially recognized as the only person to have survived both the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. His journey is a harrowing testament to both the terrifying power of human destruction and the incredible resilience of the human spirit. It was the summer of 1945. 29-year-old Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a naval engineer for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, was nearing the end of a 3-month business trip in Hiroshima. It was August 6th, the day he was scheduled to finally go home to his wife, Hisako, and their infant son, Katsutoshi, in Nagasaki. The morning was bright and clear. As he walked toward the shipyards, he really said they'd forgotten his personal seal, his hanko, and turned back to retrieve it. At 8:15 a.m., as he stepped off a tram, he saw it. Then, a small object dropped from its belly. Suddenly, the world erupted in a silent, blinding flash of magnesium-white light. Yamaguchi instinctively dove into a ditch, covering his eyes and plugging his ears. The force of the blast, what the Japanese would later call the picadone. The flash boom sucked him into the air, spun him around, and threw him into a nearby potato patch. When he opened his eyes, the world had turned to darkness. The mushroom cloud had blotted out the sun. His left eardrum was ruptured. The left side of his body was covered in severe burns, and his vision was temporarily gone. All around him was a landscape of hell. Buildings were flattened, fires raged, and the air was thick with the dust of debris and the smell of death. He was just under 2 miles from ground zero. Disoriented and in agony, he stumbled through the ruins, wading through a river of bodies to reach an air raid shelter. He spent the night there with 2 colleagues who'd also survived, listening to the city burn and the cries of the wounded fade into silence. The next day, what was left of Hiroshima was a scene of utter devastation. Despite his severe injuries, Yamaguchi's mind was fixed on one thing: getting home to his family in Nagasaki. He and his colleagues learned a train was miraculously still running from the west side of the city. They navigated the apocalyptic landscape, crossing a bridge made of charred bodies to reach the station. The journey was a feverish nightmare. The train car was packed with the burned and the dying, the air thick with the stench of scorched flesh. For 2 days, wrapped in bandages and suffering from his burns, Yamaguchi traveled home, haunted by the ghostly images he had witnessed. He arrived in Nagasaki on August 8th and limped to the hospital. The doctor, an old-school friend, was shocked by his condition but bandaged him up. His own family barely recognized him. He tried to explain the unbelievable horror he'd seen, a single bomb that had vaporized a city, but they were skeptical. Exhausted and feverish, I went to bed. The next morning, August 9th, despite his horrific injuries, Yamaguchi reported for duty at his Mitsubishi office in Nagasaki. He was describing the blast in Hiroshima to his skeptical supervisor. He was explaining how one bomb had flattened the entire city. His boss accused him of going mad. At that exact moment, at 11:02 a.m., the world turned white again. The landscape outside the window exploded in the same blinding flash he'd seen just 3 days earlier. He dropped to the floor an instant before the shockwave shattered the office windows, sending glass and debris flying. The second atomic bomb had been detonated, again, just under 2 miles from where he stood. Miraculously, his thick office building offered just enough protection. His original bandages were blown off. He was hit with another dose of radiation, but his new injuries were not life-threatening. He had survived again. He immediately rushed from the collapsed building to find his family. Fearing the worst, he ran to the ruins of his home. The city he called home was now the second monument to atomic destruction. For weeks, his hair fell out, his wounds turned gangrenous, and a high fever from the double dose of radiation brought him to the brink of death. For decades after the war, Yamaguchi tried to live a normal life. He worked as a translator for the Allied forces, then became a teacher, raising his family in a world trying to forget. He rarely spoke of his experience. The physical and psychological scars ran deep. He lost hearing in his left ear, and for years, he wrapped his burned body in bandages. The man who had survived 2 nuclear hells decided to step into the light. He wrote a book, participated in documentaries, and in 2006, at the age of 90, he addressed the United Nations. He spoke not with anger, but with a profound and urgent plea for peace. He saw 2 cities erased, 2 populations devastated. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. If you found this story as moving as we did, please like, share, and subscribe for more chapters from history.